it was the perfect storm.
Don't be stupid. Get out and go to higher, safer ground.
That came out of nowhere.
I don't think people are as prepared for the storm as I think they should be.
No bureaucracy, no red tape. Get resources where they're needed.
Hurricane Sandy.
Make no mistake about it, this was a devastating storm, maybe the worst that we have ever experienced.
A storm unlike any we've ever seen.
I'm not exactly sure where to go from here. It's pretty devastating.
This is a look back, a behind-the-scenes retrospective. How we at 19 Action News prepared. And our chief meteorologist, Jeff Tanchuk, led the charge of covering one of the biggest storms in history.
And heads up next week, major East Coast storm. This is going to be a big national news story, I think, next week, all up and down the East Coast. Looks like it will affect us with a wind-driven rain. The week before that Sandy hit, we started to see signs that this had the potential of being an historic storm. And obviously that's what it turned out to be. Right now, let's head south, though, way south. In Jamaica specifically, that is where Hurricane Sandy, it's a Category 1 storm, pounding the island right now.
I just remember Jeff forecasting this huge storm. He kept saying it was going to be something like we've never seen before in a long time. And when it hit Northeast Ohio, the winds that we saw that day, so strong. I don't recall having winds that strong here in Northeast Ohio in a long time.
I think certainly all of the predictions worked out very well. Jeff's predictions from the beginning were right on top of it, and the storm track really didn't move a whole lot about 5-6 days out, and so all of our forecasts were pretty much in line with what ended up happening.
Since you're showing wide Sandy with all the rain and stuff, I'll start with the flood watch, and hey, look at that.
And it's not going to take you long to get through those maps. I mean, look, high wind warning, everyone's in it. Gust, strongest winds expected along the lake shore.
So maybe start off with the advisories and then go to the daycast.
Yeah, maybe she'll daycast, last. Let me bring you guys up to date. It's going to be pretty bad tonight. After 8 o'clock tonight is when we think that it's really going. I mean, it's bad out there right now. The worst of the worst, if I had to pinpoint even a 6-hour window, from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m.
And then the wind will just progressively get worse from about this time on.
Yep. Wind is going to get worse the rest of this afternoon through this evening.
And I know you can't really predict this, but like power outages, could people be out of power for a couple days?
Yep, I've been telling people you got to plan for power outages for several days, not just for like a day, because it could take a long time before the power crews get to your neighborhood.
And just to let you know, I know you got the email about the weather cut-ins. Ramona will be at the desk. She'll toss to you. So she'll have her toss to you. You'll have 30 seconds for your forecast, and you'll toss back for her to push to continuing coverage.
All right, let's do it. There we are right there on the satellite. That's the storm starting to make its left turn. It's to the point now where we know that we're going to get hit bad. It's just a matter of keeping up with the latest observations and watching the radar very closely and just kind of seeing how it goes. A lot of coffee. It's going to be a long week.
Now is 19 Action News meteorologist Jeff Tanchuk. And Jeff, a lot of people wondering what's going to happen here in Northeast Ohio.
The center of the storm will probably hit around the Atlantic City area the next 2 to 3 hours. It has picked up speed a little bit. It's tracking to the northwest. The thing that makes this storm so scary is that we can't really compare this to anything. This is pretty much the first time that something like this has ever happened, where you have a hurricane that turns into a major nor'easter. But this one all of a sudden decided to take a left-hand turn, and that's what's making this so dangerous.
All right, Jeff Tanchuk, you get any more time throughout the next 3 hours and an update, please feel free to call us back.
Okay, Chuck, and everyone stay safe out there. We'll get through it.
All right, thank you.
All right. Beautiful. All right, that's that. Back to getting ready for the 4.
5, 4, 3, 2.
In high definition, 19 Action News starts.
John, I need a headshot now.
A monster storm ready to strike.
John.
functions.
I can hear you. Okay, stand by for a headshot. Stand by.
Team coverage on Storm continues right now.
As bad as it may seem out there right now, the worst is yet to come. We have team coverage, including John Loftman checking to see what's left on
Jeff was right on the
Storm.
money with his prediction and his forecasting. It was like clockwork. I looked at my watch, it was midnight, and the winds were absolutely fierce. I was watching my neighbor's shingles blown right off of his roof. I was dodging the shingles, and that wind was unbelievable. I know when Jeff has the glasses on, he is not messing around.
All kinds of problems east of the city of Cleveland. We have downed trees, power lines, flooding, like Jason and Jen told you, is a big problem over there.
Bill Saffos is now continuing our live team coverage just east of downtown Cleveland. Bill, crazy out there, huh?
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely, lifelong Clevelander here, the worst I've ever seen it. And the high wind warning, really the big...
When I was growing up as a kid in Buffalo, I've always was fascinated by lake effect snow. You know, how could this one area be getting 2 feet of snow while other areas are seeing nothing? You know, how does that happen? So when I went to college, I was fortunate enough to go to a college, State University of New York at Brockport, where I was able to focus on lake effect snow. I actually did studies on lake effect snow, and I was fortunate enough to have professors who actually developed some of the lake effect snow models that we use today. So that was kind of like my focus, my concentration in college was lake effect snow, and that was it was pretty cool. The studies that we did when I went to college, that data was actually put into helping to make the lake effect snow computer models or weather models that we use today. So it's pretty cool whenever I'm looking at these models, I can actually know that I was actually a part of helping to develop this.
You know, predicting Northeast Ohio weather can be very difficult, but one of the things I really respect about Jeff Tanchuk is that he is an expert on lake effect. And you know, this time of year when it starts to hit, it's really important to know your stuff.
And from east to west, we have you covered like no one else as the bands from Sandy lash us here in Northeast Ohio. Live reports from Lorain, Summit, and Cuyahoga counties all coming up.
Here you go, and we're seeing the steadiest rain that we've seen, even getting reports of some lightning now along the lake shore. I would stay inside, and here's why. Let's go to meteorologist John Loftman on the west side. John, what do you got?
I wish I were inside. It feels like this driving rain is putting needles into my cheeks.
You can see this rain is just coming straight sideways. We are seeing the 60-mile-per-hour gust that Jeff Tanchuk was talking about.
I got to tell you, I have been in Miami. I have covered hurricanes, and this is extremely intense. It is very cold. The rain is pelting on my face. John may have mentioned this. It feels like needles just hitting your face. If you look over my...
When you're dealing with a potential, you know, destructive storm, and it's moving very fast, especially, minutes do matter. I mean, bottom line, I mean, I know if I was watching you know, what's going on as a viewer, I would want it to tune into the station that has, you know, the very latest information as possible. I believe that we have the best radar in town, our Doppler Max radar. It really helps to have live radar data, especially when you're dealing with a fast-moving storm.
A severe weather alert remains in effect, flooding fears as the cleanup continues.
Severe weather expert Jeff Tanchuk joins us now as the rain continues to fall and the rivers continue to rise.
Yeah, you know, that rain is still with us now. Most of the rain is light, but the problem is we still have more rain in the forecast coming up.
3 words to describe the weather in Lorain County: rain-soaked and windy. Let me just say, I did not leave my house with the umbrella like this. Look, you can't make this stuff up. It broke right in half in my hand, right? And as for the rainy part, take a look at the Black River. It is up at least, at last check, over 5 feet.
The weather models, the weather data that we use to help forecast the storm, I thought it did an excellent job, and that's why, you know, we were able to warn everybody that, hey, this is going to be a big storm.
If you're still able to hear me, we need you to hunker down and get to the highest point possible in the dwelling that you're in. We will not be able to come and help you until daylight tomorrow.
We have a lot of news at 19 Action News, you know, and if you want to be the most accurate in town, you have to work at it. You can't just come in and, you know, rip and read a forecast and say this is what's going to happen. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. We have to update the website, we have to update Facebook, there's social media that we have to constantly be updating and notifying people there. There's radios that we do, newspaper. So there's a lot of things that happen other than just the TV thing. Preparing is the #1 way, preparing the right way is how you're going to nail a forecast like Sandy or like any other major weather event that we have going on here.
We've seen the strongest wind gusts already. It's going to get better, but it's still pretty bad. Flooding is going to be the problem now because Valley View would be the biggest concern.
Yeah, there's so much damage. The things that really stand out are those individual sound bites with people dealing with this mess. So I don't know if you would have a chance, you know, with the woman with the tree in her house, if she could tell her story or kind of describe what happened. I know we could shoot all of that stuff, but to me all that needs to be outboarded and we just tell individual stories.
What are they covering?
They're doing west side suburbs, Westlake Bay, Avon Lake.
The newsroom meetings and working with the newsroom is very important because we have to work with the producers. We have to tell them what we need time-wise. We need to let the newsroom know what's going on constantly because we're all a team here. It's still a massive storm occurring right now. I mean, you've still got a lot of rain east of us still, but the thing is the most significant part that has changed is the wind.
Jessica shot home video of this Westlake, some stream in Westlake, and it was like...
Jason Hammond and Jen Harcher have double-teamed weather coverage of the superstorm. We begin with Jason in the Weather Center. Jason?
Harry, we've seen a big improvement as we go into the early afternoon on the winds, an improvement enough so that...
I got my weather team. We put out the forecast, but there's also the news team.
Paul Lalowski has been scouting out the west side. He continues our team coverage with more on what he is seeing. Paul?
Well, Harry, we found that the farther west we went, the worse it got. The eastern edge of Avon Lake, western end of Bay Village, really a pretty hard hit. We're just back with some video, so let's get right to that. This is a story that really hit particularly close to home, and I'll tell you why. That's my backyard. 2 trees up.
They have the hard job of going out and actually getting the damage, of getting the reaction of the people, of showing these weather elements that we are forecasting, the strong winds, the flooding, all the rain. It's their job to actually go out and show that on air.
We're going to do the building collapse at 4, 5, and 6, both sides at 4 and 6, and the package at 5. Do you want me to stay?
They're asking me all the time. In fact, I'll get calls from the crews out in the field. You know, what's going to happen? Should we move? You know, hey, I'm starting to see dark clouds. I'm starting to see the wind pick up.
You're trying to determine what exactly might be going on with the Sterling building, because if you look, and we did just give you a shot of the side of the building, what's going on here is at about 11 o'clock, some employees heard something that sounded a little strange.
There was this one story where Brian Duffy was actually throwing a microphone to a guy because he was literally trapped around his house. He had live wires down around his house.
Well, I've been here for like 2 days. This happened about 9:30 Monday night.
We are in constant communication with everybody, especially in a weather situation as big as Hurricane Sandy. I mean, it's 24/7.
Well, we all saw the damage that happened in New York, but here at home we had a lot of people without power. Their homes were damaged, trees down, and it was pretty rough for a lot of people.
And sure enough, it wasn't long after that storm hit that a little girl touched a down power line, and it reminded me of Jeff saying, hey, be careful out there.
All of a sudden I heard a big boom and a crash and the house shook. When I ran downstairs and opened up the front door, the whole front yard was in flames.
It's horrific.
Well, it's Halloween, and we are in, it started Sunday, 1, 2, 3, 4, day 4 of the storm here. Still getting a lot of rain. Still have lots of power outages.
This is a guy who is extremely dedicated, like no one else that I've ever worked with.
He is here early in the morning until late at night. He doesn't have to start at that time of day, but he is so dedicated that he just comes in. He's here before the noon show every day, and he's here until midnight. So he really eats, sleeps, and breathes weather.
Can't start the day without a cup of Joe, right?
He's really like the little brother I never had. He's funny, he's silly, he's always like a comedian.
A cat that looks like Batman. If you want to share that with your friends, and I mean, how could you not? It's a cat that looks like Batman.
Well, there was a worthless piece of television right there. No, I just a Batman. All right, let's go to the view of the day.
I can tell you, I remember before I came to work here, I used to hear people talk about this weatherman at Channel 19 and that he was a little highly energetic. And I've realized since I've been here that not only is Jeff so much fun, so much energy, but there is such a serious side to him when it comes to forecasting severe weather. I mean, he has laser focus when there is a storm approaching. He's all over it, not just getting the weather forecast right, but also preparing our viewers and making sure that he's keeping them safe.
What am I doing first?
When it's time to get serious about weather, he really does. He knows what he's doing. He never jokes about the weather.
And even out to the west, getting some lake enhancement here through Huron County. And then it's our job to warn everybody on what's happening and how serious the storm could be. Now, you could do whatever you want with that information. Some people will listen intently. Other people will maybe blow it off. There's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I can't physically go into everybody's living room and shout at them, hey, this is going to be a bad storm. You got to prepare right now. Okay? I have to get the information out, and I have to do it to the best of my ability.
He's got a unique knowledge and ability to forecast lake effect like no one else here, and certainly like no one else that I've ever worked with in my career.
To tell you the truth, there's no place I would rather be right now than Cleveland. This area has been very good to me since I've been here for the last 10 years. And I hope to be here another 10 years, and I hope to provide the best forecast that I can, because I do want you to know that I work very hard at it every single day.
I really live by his forecast and use it every single day in my life.
I think one of the most important things to realize is that he brings with him not only this great forecasting ability and not this incredible knowledge in terms of weather and how it's going to play out in Northeast Ohio, but he also brings this passion, which is very evident anytime that I've been, you know, out with him or around town, you know, on a dinner break or anything like that. People will come up from all over because they know that this is the same Jeff Tanchuk that you see on the TV, the same guy exactly in person.
This is lake effect country. This is the spot where I want to be. I don't want to be in Phoenix, Arizona, forecasting sunny and 90 to 100 degrees every single day. I don't want to be in Florida forecasting tropical weather. I want to be in Cleveland because lake effect snow is what I was born to do. That's what I hope to continue to do here.